What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for Sports. All right, so before I get into this video, there's a couple things I want to say. Number one, if you're listening to this video and you like uh, what you're hearing, if you like this channel, please hit that like button. Also, share this video with people that you know like sports, particular sports history. Please share this video so this video can get more views, this channel can grow. Also, if you haven't already done, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to this channel. And also hit the notification button so that you're notified of any and every video that drops on this channel. All right. So, having said that, let's get on with this video. So, Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan uh, usually gives a lot of credit to two players for influencing his game. Now, of course, there are other players that you could obviously see influence him. A little bit of Julius Erving, uh, you know, some other players, but there's two in particular. One of them, of course, is David Thompson. The other one is Walter Davis. In fact, Walter Davis, who is also a University of North Carolina alum, worked out when he was an NBA player, would come back to University of North Carolina and work out with Jordan when Jordan was a college player in North Carolina. And it was Walter Davis who mentored Jordan and told him the importance of the mid-range shot, and also worked with Jordan on certain moves, like jab steps, pump fakes, and things of that nature. Matter of fact, Jordan thought so much of Walter Davis that even in the twilight of Walter Davis's career, in 1990, after the Bulls lost in 7 games to the Detroit Pistons, he was adamant to management. He was adamant to Jerry Krause that they signed Walter Davis in pursuit of their at the time, what would have been their first NBA championship. Ultimately, Walter Davis signed with the Denver Nuggets, but that goes to show you uh, how much Michael Jordan respected Walter Davis. Walter Davis scored over 19,000 points in his career. I think it was 19,000, I think 521 or something like that, in 1,033 career regular season games. Walter Davis is often compared to Ray Allen, uh, Reggie Miller, for his generation. As far as he was 6'6", but only 193 pounds. He was constant movement. He was fast. Uh, hence the nickname the Greyhound because of his sleek, uh, you know, uh, his sleek appearance and his speed. He was one of the great shooters of his time. Remember, there was no three-point line for much of his career. And for most of his career, the three-point line, even when it was in existence, it wasn't really used much. So you can only imagine how many points he would have scored had he played 15 years later. But, he still averaged, I think, over 19 points a game, I believe, for his career. Or about 19 points a game, I think, actually, for his career. Um, he played on teams with other guys who could score the rock. So that's why you don't see him averaging 27, 28. But make no mistake about it. When he got it going, he was one of the best shooters you've ever seen. There's a particular game that he had, I believe it was against Portland, where he scored 36 points on 15 and 16 shooting. He would have those types of nights. For his career, he shot 51% from the floor and 52% when he was playing with Phoenix. In fact, Walter Davis had one of the great rookie years of all time with Phoenix, shooting 53% from the floor, averaging better than 24 points per game his rookie year. And remember, he did this without a three-point line. Walter Davis, I'm making this video because I think it's a shame that he's not in the Hall of Fame. And the reason why I think he's not in the Hall of Fame is I think that guys like, this is just my theory, I think guys like him are being penalized for the era that they played in, that being the 70s and 80s. And one of the problems a lot of players that played in that era, a lot of them had issues with drugs and alcohol. And unfortunately, there was some controversy towards the end of Walter Davis's career. Starting in around 1985, I think 86, Walter Davis started having injury issues. But on top of that, he started having a problem with drugs and alcohol. And it got so bad that in 1988, and he actually testified in exchange for immunity against some of his own Phoenix Suns teammates in court. I think as far as drug usage and you know, um, I think suppliers as far as drugs and it was bad. It was bad, and I think that has something to do with it. That obviously has something to do with why he's not in the Hall of Fame. His jersey was retired by the Phoenix Suns. Jerry Colangelo, I believe it was, retired his jersey several years ago. So he was still he's a remarkable player, but I think that coupled with the fact that the Phoenix Suns obviously never went to a finals where he played. Um, Unfortunately, they played in the same era with the Sonics of the late '70s, Showtime Lakers, George Gervin and their Spurs team, Alex English and the Denver Nuggets. They were generally a better team. So Phoenix never really seriously challenged for an NBA championship. But Walter Davis as a player, he should be in. Make no doubt about it. If it wasn't for an injury that he suffered in 1977, he probably would have won a championship with North Carolina his last year there. Also, he won a gold medal. I believe it was in 1976, won Olympic gold. You look at his career, 19,521 points, I said. He had more All-Star selections than Reggie Miller. Actually, three times. Not three times, but I think Reggie is a four-time All-Star. Walter Davis is a six-time All-Star, two-time All-NBA second team. He was the Rookie of the Year, 1977-78, something Reggie Miller never accomplished. NBA All-Rookie first team. His number six retired by the Phoenix Suns, like I said. He was first team All ACC 1977, second team All ACC 1976. And he also had 1,280 career steals. And yeah, when you look at his career, man, I really think that he should be in the Hall of Fame. The 1979-80 season, in 75 games, Walter Davis, who was more of a mid-range shooter, shot an incredible 56.3% from the floor that particular year, averaging 21.5 points per game. And you know, I just look at his, I'm just looking at his career. Even in 90-91, toward the twilight of his career, in only 26.8 minutes of play, he still managed to average 18.7 points per game. This is a guy that was just a scoring machine. He only averaged for his career 27.9 minutes per game played. So he did not play heavy minutes. This isn't a guy that was out there stat padding. Is what I'm basically trying to say. He wasn't out there stat padding, but he still averaged 18.9 points per game in just under 28 minutes per game on average. He was a great free throw shooter, 85% for his career. Toward the end of his career, he was even better than that. As a matter of fact, he led the NBA in free throw shooting in the 90. Actually, no, he didn't lead the NBA. I take that back. But the last 3 years of his career, he shot over 90% from the foul line. So, he really worked on his overall shooting. He also helped, by the way, Jeff Hornacek become a better shooter. Ultimately, you can argue that Jeff became a better shooter than Walter. But this is a guy that was a premier shooter of his era. And I can't help but think that the stigma of the drug situation has kept him out of the Hall of Fame. But that was some 30-something years ago. When you look at some of the guys who are getting in, I'm not knocking some of these guys, but I don't understand how they're not putting in guys like this. They're not putting in guys like the other guy did a video about what's his name? Lou Hudson. Okay. I just did a piece on this channel showing you how certain circumstances can pop up that can alter history. 1969, Atlanta Hawks. Lou Hudson missed 35 games, the last 35 games of the regular season through the military service. Okay? The Vietnam War. Had he not missed 35 games, Atlanta would have had by far the best record in the Eastern Conference. And with that different seeding and having home court advantage, perhaps they beat Boston. And ultimately, maybe that particular Atlanta, I think they had moved to Atlanta by then, or maybe they were still in St. Louis. But anyway, the point is that Hawks team possibly could have won a championship. But that's why I always say luck and circumstances sometimes play a role in these things. I also want to end this video on this note. I also don't understand why 3 other pioneers aren't in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand why Max Sosowski's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand why Larry Costello is not in the Hall of Fame. And I don't understand why, I think his name is Larry Fouts. I don't understand why he's not in the Hall of Fame. I get why some other guys aren't in, like Cliff Hagan. Because when you look at Cliff Hagan, his character, that's all I need to go further into that one. He was a white guy playing with the St. Louis Hawks. I get why he's not in the Hall of Fame, because he's a racist. But those guys I just mentioned, they weren't any more racist than the average white person. There were no documented situations I can look at that shows them expressing their racism in an egregious way. So if you look at what they were accomplishing in the era they played in, I don't understand why they're not in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, this video is primarily about Walter Davis, the Greyhound. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me why he's not in the Hall of Fame. Just somebody. And don't bring up no championship, because a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame who don't have championships. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Tell me what you guys think.